But yeah, Grant Platner, we're finally doing it. We're finally talking about it. All the annoying people can now rejoice. So there are some things that he said way back in the day that are actually bad. And of course, liberals are, and even leftists are some of the most like unbearable individuals you will fucking ever encounter. It's specifically this. In 2013, why black people don't tip and says sexual assault victims should take some responsibility and not get so fucked up. Those are unacceptable, okay? Those are unacceptable. They're also from 2013. I thought this type of political posturing was shit that we had left behind. Yeah, he was a fucking broken-brained jarhead in 2013. This is the shit that people should actually maybe look at with more scrutiny, as opposed to him being like, I'm a socialist, I'm a fucking communist, all this other stuff. Okay? If anything, working through opinions like that, or working through opinions like that, and working through his own personal experience, and reflecting on his service and thinking about it critically is unironically the appropriate thing. I don't know the full scope or the full extent of his comments, but from what I understand, there were some statements he made that like I don't have any issue with whatsoever. Grant Platner once called himself a communist, dismissed all police as bastards, said rural white Americans actually are racist and stupid according to the now deleted posts. Okay? Oh, fuck. Do we have the paywall? Can someone link me the paywall thing? Hassan uniting people from both ends of the political spectrum. Now, since then, I mean, obviously, we're going to get into the extent of what he had said in the past, okay? But some of the comments are 100% unacceptable. At the same time, it was 12 years ago, and he said he was suffering from a lot of mental health issues and confusion because of untreated PTSD. His other posts over time show a much better attitude towards racism and victims of sexual abuse as they get more recent. Exactly. If you look at a guy who's saying, like, racist shit, or saying, if you look at a dude who has gone through this process of saying racist shit or saying heinous shit about like victims of sexual assault in fucking 2013, who then turns around and in much recent times in 2020 and onward, talking about how like cops are fucking racist and there are a lot of rural white Americans that do exhibit like sexist and racist qualities, things like that, then I think it's a little bit, I think it's good to place the emphasis on where he has landed at rather than what he used to say, especially considering that none of this has anything to do with his like higher political ambitions. It's not like he had a fucking Reddit account where he was saying those things under the guise of anonymity, and then later on in 2020 was like, oh, let me actually change my mind or make it seem like I've gone through this fucking personal evolution in 2020 so that maybe one day I can fucking run for office as a psyop for the left or something. This doesn't mean that Grant Platner is on solid ground in general, especially considering the Blackwater thing, which is a major issue for many people on the left, because Blackwater is beyond doing multiple tours. As far as veteran status goes, okay, going on active duty and being a veteran and then being an anti-war veteran is perfectly fine. Many Americans experience this. You have to be way more understanding, in my opinion, towards people like that. I have wonderful friends and allies and comrades who have actually gone through this process. There are plenty of them in this community as well. Now, when you add on to numerous tours, when you talk about multiple tours that someone has gone through, then it obviously makes it a little bit trickier. But ultimately, the worst aspect of this is that after numerous tours, I assume because he had, because he saw it as like a financial, the only like financial route that he had for himself, he went and joined fucking Blackwater in 2018. That is suspicious, to say the least. Having said that, he was constantly posting in fucking Socialist Rifle Association on Reddit in fucking 2020. So for those who say he himself is like a psyop designed by the state to infiltrate the left or some shit is ridiculous. I think the truth is much simpler, okay? I think this is a regular ass American dude, a regular ass American fucking dude. SRE is the most fed ass socialist org in this country, dude. Okay, dude. If you think the American federal law enforcement authorities have the capacity to literally design such a complex infiltration scheme, so much so that they're talking about like, this is what, 12 years in the making? Like a guy who in high school had on his high school yearbook was like Free Palestine, and then went and joined the fucking Marines, did multiple tours, came back, worked for Blackwater, but then totally anonymously on the other hand was leaving breadcrumbs to really hype up his leftist bona fides in the age of like in 2020 at peak woke, but did it in such an elaborate way where he had opinions at peak woke during 2020 that resembled the opinions of many people, including fucking, Zohran Mamdani, who is going back on some of the things that he said during peak woke, only to fucking win an election in Maine, fucking Maine, potentially, so that he can do what? Do what? Exactly. Do what? Just think. Like, not only is this an unimaginably complex scheme to fucking pull through, which requires numerous administrations to design it, okay? But to do what? There is no left. There is no left in this country. Wake up. There is no fucking left in this country. At most, it's a bunch of fucking reading groups. There is no strong labor militancy in this country. No mechanism of pressure in this country. You think the fucking federal government is doing this like super sophisticated infiltration scheme? Get the fuck out of here. I think my honest assessment, judging by like some of the things that I read about him, is that he is a regular homegrown American dummy. Okay? That's it. The most suspicious aspect of his background is the Blackwater stint that he did briefly. But everything else on top of that is just a guy trying to figure things out. Many of you are also dummies in the same vein. And it took a long time for you to fucking fully figure out what your worldview is. I'm gonna be honest. I think he's trying to hide what his true positions are because he's fucking worried that people are going to attack him with the socialist moniker over and over again, which he shouldn't be worried about, to be fair, because this is an important moment for him not to actually stand down on positions like that, because then no one is going to believe him. People are just going to be like, "Oh, you're a coward, and you're lying anyway." Rest in power, Michael Brooks. He wrote on Monday, July 20th. It was a huge part of my politics moving further left and revolutionary. I'm feeling a serious sense of loss right now. I'm not even sure what to say. I'm just so thankful for his intellect and knowledge. We are stronger because of him, but have lost something with his passing. A war within myself, one veteran struggle for life after combat. This is from 2016. Jesus, this hits close to home. I did 3 tours in the Corps, got out to go to college, and ended up on the same exact deployment to Afghanistan with the same Iowa NG brigade. That feeling of chasing the war is something that is hard to explain to people. And it's a terrible shame this guy couldn't find something to fill that hole when it was done. Fucking sad story. For people who are saying, like, was the struggle before or after he joined Blackwater? Is being a mercenary part of serving one's country? To be honest, this reads as sarcasm because it's a joke to say that he's disgusted with authoritarianism and he calls himself a proud combat veteran of an illegal war. I know a lot of people. Why are you vouching for him so much? I'm not even vouching for him necessarily. I'm not vouching for him necessarily as much as I'm like trying to make sure that people are not fucking insane. It is understandable to be it's understandable to heavily scrutinize someone's character if they fucking joined Blackwater, okay? It seems crazy to go from Blackwater in 2018 to be like, I'm a communist in 2020. Having said that, one, on principle, I'm never going to fucking be like, oh, a person is a veteran, fuck them. Okay? Instead, I think it's better to try and understand exactly what the fuck is going on in the minds of millions of Americans. Because remember, this isn't just like joining the army, joining the military in general is not like a unique thing. Millions of Americans are fucking active duty. Okay? So you need to fucking remove your own personal ideological slant out of this. This is a thing that many Americans, one, are proud of, and two, think is totally normal. It's the biggest jobs program in the fucking country. You wouldn't be nice to an IDF veteran? I've literally interviewed IDF veterans on this broadcast. Suck my dick. Suck my dick. I have. And I will continue to do so. I've interviewed IDF veterans and I have interviewed American veterans as well. Here's a deleted comment. Question about Smedley Butler. Not a Marine, just have a question. It seems that Chesley Puller and Smedley Butler are generally two of the most revered Marines in history. I was curious what the general feeling among modern day Marines is towards Butler's opinions on war and the things he wrote later in life, like war is a racket, etc. Do you agree with his views? I know you guys obviously don't all have the same political opinions, but I was interested in getting a sense of what the prevailing opinion is, if any. And this is his deleted comments, I guess. I think he was way ahead of his time. Is it Boat Cow? Or is it this one? Oh, he's the deleted comment. It's a thought that enrages me daily. I think he was way ahead of his time and gave us a first warning about war profiteering. Unfortunately, that message is lost in the simplification of his image to be based around combat heroics. I second this. How many billions of dollars did I help Dick Cheney and his lot make in Iraq? War is almost definitely a racket. Our friends die while they make money is a thought that enrages me daily. There are two things that you need to understand. Two things that you need to understand no matter what, okay? You're building a fucking broad coalition. It's going to have veterans in it, especially in a country like the United States of America. That's number one. Number two, it is probably one of the easiest vectors of radicalization. And Nazis take advantage of that all the fucking time by creating unique groups such as Atomwaffen specifically to fucking target veterans and active duty service members. Okay, that's two. A lot of you come across ridiculous when you take this approach, okay? People have the capacity to change. People have the capacity to change. People find themselves a victim to the social conditioning no matter what. If you think I'm normalizing the United States military, by the way, for saying that, and this doesn't extend to Blackwater, okay? It doesn't. It does not. But if you think I'm normalizing the United States military, then you are already living on a totally different fucking planet, okay? There is no normalizing that is required. It's the same as fucking cops, okay? We might not like cops in this community, but it doesn't matter because everybody else does. And let me tell you, they like cops a whole lot more than they like fucking socialists, okay? Should we let murderers get away with their crimes too? After all, they can change too? Yes! 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 I'm in favor of rehabilitation as long as someone is taking atonement. Yes! Yes! A murderer that serves their fucking prison sentence should be rehabilitated and integrated back into society. I'm not a fucking stupid draconian American, okay? Yes. God damn. I hate some of you motherfuckers so much. What atonement is he taking? What punishment has he gotten? Great question. Great fucking question. As a matter of fact, when things are not punishable by law and unironically revered as a matter of fact, and you still realize that that shit was fucked up, that takes a lot of fucking effort. It's called self-reflection, self-crit for all the fucking lefty LARPers in the chat. Also, on top of that, a lifetime of fucking PTSD probably isn't great either. Anyway, let's watch what he had to say as well. Oh, one of the funniest aspects of this argument and criticism that people are leaning on These smoothberry morons in the chat want him slicing off his pinkies like a fucking Yakuza member to atone. Yeah, no, there are a variety of different left flank opinions here. Some of which go, you're a baby killer if you're a veteran, you did active duty, you saw combat, you went and you engaged in an illegal war where you fucking killed people, okay? Where you killed people, possibly even children. That is completely unacceptable. And I understand where they're coming from in terms of like their moral posture, but a more pragmatic approach in this situation requires you to look at what a person has done, what they have personally experienced in the process, and who they are now, okay? Like, people are like, oh, you have to be publicly flogged in this situation. And it's ironic. Or people do the cynical thing, the cynical reframing of the conversation. I love my Blackwater mercenary, okay? They make it seem as though I love my Blackwater mercenary, vote blue no matter who. I need you all to understand something, okay? I need you all to understand something. This is going to come across as hurtful for many of you because I know a lot of like long-term community members are the ones who get the most mad when I say stuff like this. But your opinion is literally worthless in the grand scheme of things. And so is mine, for the record. But like, we don't matter. I need you to understand that, okay? We don't fucking matter. We don't matter in the grand scheme of things at all, okay? We don't. Many of us do not understand, myself included, for the record, do not understand what kind of lived experiences that people have that cause them to do heinous shit, okay? But that heinous shit that we think is heinous, every fucking American thinks is awesome, for the record. Like the overwhelming majority. So pick your fucking battles, please, for once. Please stop getting in your fucking way. Okay? And it's additionally funny because please point to, if you are a LARPer, right? Because many of you are. Many of you love LARPing about Marxist-Leninism and the Vanguard. Please point to one historic instance where there was a militant left movement that did not almost entirely comprise of veterans as well. Just one. Please find one. I really hope you can find one. I have never seen one. There has never been a single fucking instance where there has ever been a successful revolutionary action that took place without any fucking military experience whatsoever. Okay? We need a Haas news, but for when we're discussing electoral politics from a descriptive, not normative perspective. I know. Your chat needs to read a book for once. The engine of the KPD was basically soldiers in the Navy that were so disillusioned with the Kaiserreich that they almost successfully had a revolution if they weren't betrayed by the SPD. Exactly. I'm not ready to dismiss Blackwater concerns. I worry about what that means, but I also understand that if you leave the military with no transferable skills and a deeply disturbed mental state that brings you back to the only thing you know how to do, it's hard to understand. Yes, that is the problem here. And that is my assessment as well. I think you have a fucked up guy who straight up looks at the situation in hand, tries to go to college, fails in the same job market, and goes, maybe this is my only option to get a fucking check. And also on top of that, I get to continue my adventurism, which is a heinous approach. I understand that. Okay? It's a heinous approach. It's fucked up. It's also ironically one that he doesn't even need to address. This is the only community on the internet where he does need to address something like that, for the record. But that's why I keep repeating to all of you that this is like the constant hangups that I have in my own community about someone's veteran status or even fucking joining Blackwater is completely non-existent. That is not the reason why they're criticizing him, okay? A lot of you want to criticize him on that aspect, which is understandable. That is worthy of scrutiny. But most people don't give a shit about that. If anything, that probably is seen as a fucking benefit. They're like, oh, wow, he's awesome at war. That's awesome. Revolutionary liberal. Maybe my only option is to kill a bunch of children. Our society is so fucked up that this is an option. Yes, I know. You know Platner's racist too, right? No, he used to fucking be racist. Yes, he was a fucking, he was a 6-time jarhead, dude. He went back time and time again. You're talking about a Reddit post from 2013. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Meanwhile, people are canceling him for his much more recent posts, which is when he was saying Trump supporters are fucking racist hicks and white supremacists and that all cops are fucking bastards. Jesus Christ. Anyway, we'll get to his older racist takes as well. Where's the fucking video of him apologizing? Apparently he had a video about this as well. I can't find it now. Where the heck is it? Oh, here it is. With the most dog shit camera of all time. Jesus Christ.
As you've probably seen, there's a story that's broken about comments I made on Reddit in an earlier part of my life. As I read through them, I read things that I absolutely do not agree with. I read through and I see things that, words and statements that I abhor. I also see the trajectory of my life. When I got back from Afghanistan in 2011, I stayed in the Army for another year. I got out in 2012. Some of the worst comments I made, the things that I think are least defensible, that I wouldn't even try to defend, come from that time. I had spent the bulk of my 20s in the infantry, deploying overseas, fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan. The infantry was a very male-dominated place. It's a very masculine world.
So is he a communist now? If he was racist once but not now, why should we believe that he was a communist and still is? First of all, you have to understand, if he's saying racist shit on the same account in 2013, as opposed to saying anti-racist shit in 2020, what do you think is more relevant in this equation? And secondly, things that he said in 2020 about being a communist or socialist, but now being like, I'm a small business owner, that type of shit, inherently is him trying to posture that he's more moderate than he actually is, most likely. Okay? But like, to me, when I look at this, he is the fucking median voter, okay? He is the most, like, people go, that's insane. How is this possible? You literally do multiple fucking tours, and then you even join a mercenary force. You leave earlier before your mission is over, but it doesn't matter. You leave disillusioned, but you still fucking chose to work for Blackwater. That's crazy. And then all of a sudden you're running around on the internet on the same fucking account saying you're a socialist communist and all this other shit, okay? And it's kind of funny because there are people, maybe not with the Blackwater exception, because that is literally the most insane aspect of this entire story. But if you were to section off his opinion going from being racist to anti-racist, then yeah, that's normal. If you talk about him being a combat veteran and then actually being disillusioned and being anti-war, that's normal. You don't understand this, chatters, but there are thousands of them in this fucking community right now. Because I'm not a fucking dickhead like you are. Because I'm not a stupid fucking unrealistic, idealistic, LARPing ass dickhead like you are. Because I understand that people are products of their environment. So they are going to have racist starting positions. They're going to engage in heinous acts. Okay? Ultimately, what matters to me is who they are now. Okay? Anyway, let's continue.
Women weren't allowed in the infantry. It's changed now, and that's a good thing. But when I got out, I still had the crude humor, the dark feelings, the offensive language that really was a hallmark of the infantry when I was in it. I made comments that I'm not happy about, that I do not agree with, but they came from a time and place in my life. And as I watch, or as I read through the comments that were released, I can see myself changing. My language gets less crude, my thoughts and my feelings get a lot less kind of rough around the edges. I do get almost more disillusioned though, and it's important to know that this was a time in my life where I was struggling deeply. I got out of the Army in 2012. I had PTSD, I had depression. I had all of the things that come with serving in a war, in 2 wars, that I eventually began to not believe in at all. It left me feeling very unmoored. It left me feeling very disillusioned, very alienated, and very isolated. And I think like a lot of people, I went on the internet to post stupid things and get in fights and find some form of community in some way, some outlet for my feelings, for my rage, for my isolation. It wasn't until I found actual community that all went away. And the reason that I stopped posting on Reddit around 2020 and 2021 is because that was the point in my life where I had found this. I had moved back to my hometown. I'd found community. I'd started a business. I'd met someone to fall in love with. I'd been able to really begin to feel connected again. And not only did it let me feel connected, it also gave me a lot of hope. I had spent years being entirely isolated and feeling very, very angry about the system that had made me go through that experience. Coming back to Maine, moving back to my hometown, reconnecting with the community that I'm from, building real friendships, building real networks, real relationships with people, that helped cut my disillusion. I went from thinking that people were bad to knowing that people are good. I went from thinking that there was no hope to having nothing but hope. A hope that is rooted in the fact.
My honest opinion is that as a vet, that the strange thing is that he hasn't been around any lefty vet orgs. That's not that crazy. He's in fucking Maine. I don't know how many lefty orgs exist in Maine for veterans. Not every fucking lefty vet, including the tens of thousands in this chat, are working with like, you know, About Face or numerous other like left flank veterans or any of these other organizations anyway. This is the least PR crafted statement. I believe this is sincere. Yeah, the only PR element in all of this is like when outed about like saying he was a socialist or a communist or cops or bastards or whatever, he immediately backed away. Judging by the people that have profiled him so far that I've talked to and my own assessment on it, it does seem like he's trying to communicate a more moderate position than he actually is. I like that he is being truthful here, it seems. Like I said, my issues with him are not the fact that he was saying racist shit or sexist shit about victim blaming women in 2013 as a fucking jarhead. Like, yeah, dude, he was a fucking moron. He was a Marine. What are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? Of course. Wow, I can't believe in 2013 a Marine that just came out of active duty was saying fuck shit. He was probably the most woke Marine of all time. Meanwhile, half of you dumb fucks got to that same position of racism because you watched the wrong YouTube video. And you don't believe that any longer. So why the fuck are you chirping in the chat? You didn't actually go and do fuck shit and get PTSD and brick your goddamn brain. And you still arrived at his dumbass fucking positions about women and black people. Why? Because you watched one Roblox video and it took you down a right-wing fucking pipeline. And you found yourself rehashing Sargon of Akkad takes. So shut the fuck up. You don't have a moral higher ground than others because of your different journey through radicalization or your actions. Treat people like normal fucking people. God damn. Do Iraqis have a moral high ground? Are you Iraqi? Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! If you were to ask an Iraqi person, would they prefer a fucking Marine Corps dipshit who actually became anti-war over a Marine Corps dipshit who didn't, who do you think they would choose? It's always out of touch white motherfuckers living in America that have this kind of attitude, this black and white attitude. Or sometimes an unwashed Maoist in fucking Argentina. God damn. I'm Iraqi and I do not forgive him for his service, but I do hope he wins. Well, you're better off than fucking I'm Iraqi. Hassan, sit this one out. First of all, I don't care. Just so you understand. I sit this one out before you explain. My bad. Damn, you really are native. What? You really are native US, huh? What do you mean? There is no irredeemable quality to a person, okay? Unless they're just like straight up a pedophile and exhibit no no self-criticism for that sort of behavior, okay? There is no one that is irredeemable. And you have to have a different approach. You especially have to have a different approach to people who have done fuck shit, who society doesn't even think is doing fuck shit, okay? Like someone who was a cop that turned around and said, I was a cop for, 4 years or whatever. I did heinous shit. The job literally broke me. It made me into like a racist person. I hated who I'd become and I quit. And now I'm spending my time being like, policing is fundamentally broken as an institution. If you think I'm going to turn around and be like, fuck that guy, he was a cop at some point, he could suck my dick, you're fucking stupid. And the same goes for this guy. Okay? Especially because society does not fucking broadly view cops in the same narrow way that we do here in this fucking stupid ass, leftist, LARPy ass community. Okay? And the same especially goes for veterans. Okay? These are people who most Americans look at and go, thank you for your service. Even if it's cynical, even if it's not real, even if it's not a real thank you for your service, they still do it anyway. Okay? The institution itself is seen as an incredibly respectable institution. Okay? Relax, no infighting king, big bro. No, it's just like fucking so annoying where it's like, I can't tell if it's like anarchists in the chat or whatever the fuck people are saying. Yeah, if he was running around still being like, yo, my service was awesome, actually. There's a difference between someone who is like every other dumb fuck Democrat that the DNC puts forward, being like, oh my God, I loved being the baby annihilator in the fucking Air Force. I'm much more patriotic than the Republican on the other side. Like, and that's the norm, by the way. The Democrats do this all the time, but none of you fucking leftists have that level of goddamn smoke for people like that. Seemingly, when people are super honest about their service and love how sick it is, you have no smoke for them. You have no smoke for the veterans who are just literally still running on how awesome it was that they served. And the one time there's a fucking guy who's like, oh my God, I can't believe I served. This was really fucked up of me. You go, fuck this guy. You are destined for a lifetime of Amy McGraths. And you deserve it. You deserve Amy McGraths all around the country. And I hope you get it. That's what you deserve. You deserve the John Kerrys of the world. You deserve the Amy McGraths of the world. That's what you deserve. I'm sick and tired of this shit. It's a fundamental principle for me to analyze someone on what they are, who they are now, what they represent now, what they say now. And when making this fucking analysis, I also look at whether or not the actions that they partook in, no matter how irredeemable we see it here, right? Is that even considered irredeemable in broader society? Because that plays a role in whether or not this person felt it necessary to take atonement out of shame or because they personally arrived at that conclusion. Any veteran that realizes what they did was fucked up is not coming to that conclusion because people yelled at them. They're coming to that conclusion because they personally engaged in self-criticism. They personally arrived at that conclusion because society broadly does not give a shit. They literally say, you're awesome. Thank you for going and engaging in the most righteous act of murdering brown children, okay? That's how Americans look at it. You guys are fucking stupid. You don't realize that that's how society broadly reflects on these things. So if someone realizes that this is wrong, when society doesn't think that they're wrong, that they're in the wrong, then that's a good thing. That requires a lot more self-criticism, restraint, and critical thinking than any number of different things that you've changed your mind on. And yes, even being a Nazi is redeemable. Yes, everything is redeemable. Shut the fuck up. Derek Black is a former Nazi who was born into a very famous Nazi family. I've talked about him quite a bit. There are entire groups and organizations designed around life after hate, trying to rehabilitate fucking Nazis. And by the way, being a Nazi is literally not treated in the same fucking way as being a veteran is. So obviously his own personal journey through rehabilitation is way different than a fucking neo-Nazi. How are you comparing a fucking combat veteran in the Marine Corps to a neo-Nazi? This is how busted your brain is. In the eyes of the average American, if you were to be like, every combat veteran is a neo-Nazi, they'd beat you with hammers, okay? They would fill a sock with used batteries and bludgeon you to death if you were to make such a comparison. Some of you do need to get your ass beat a little bit to be like a little bit more normal in your analysis. Anyway, the worst aspect of his commentary, especially when it comes to militarism, is not that he's full-blown anti-imperialist, but because he says like, oh, we got to work on our shipbuilding capacity to make up for the gap between China, okay? So he's not even the best candidate regardless on that front. But you guys are so hyper-focused on like the most indefensible aspects of the commentary here that I can't even move beyond it to make reasonable criticism about some of his fucking positions. Oh.
That it was in my community here in Sullivan, Maine, that I got to come home and build a nice life. That all changed for me, but it took me a long time to get there, and it was a very long journey. And along that journey, I was in different places that I'm not in now. I had different feelings that I don't have now. I had different thoughts and opinions that I certainly don't have now. But I am very proud of the person I am today. And it was that whole journey that got me here. And while I won't defend things I said in the past, I will just say that if it wasn't for that entire journey, I would not be who I am today, and I'm incredibly proud of who I am today. And so for those of you who have read these things and been offended, have read these things and seen someone that you don't recognize, I am deeply sorry. It's something that I see someone that I don't recognize either, not in who I am today. It is somebody that I do recognize though. Somebody who is struggling, somebody who is having a very difficult.
Like, what is the lesson that we're teaching everybody if by and large people look to this and go, okay, this person is demonstrating growth and that's a good thing. And the most leftist community is like, fuck that! There is no growth! There is no such thing! Fucking kill yourself! The only way to take atonement is to kill yourself! What does that look like to the outsiders, you think? Do you think that we are actually building a serious movement? Do you think that we are actually doing a good thing? No redemption! And then we sit around and we go, oh, why is the right so effective at mobilizing? I don't understand. Why is the right so good at mobilizing? Why do they have such a wide array of different people, regardless of their heinous worldview? I feel like I'm in a constant state of relitigating 2016 era peak woke politics in this stupid fucking community every goddamn day, because all of the radlib baby leftists that come in here have the exact same hangups. We can't allow microaggressions in this community. I can't believe how you have a blind spot for this. You have a blind spot for that. No interest in allowing people to fucking learn and grow. Taking the most goddamn cynical approach to every single person. How are you any different than the fucking edgelords on the right? Yeah, your politics are good, but the fundamental driving mechanism behind your politics is identical to the fucking nihilistic edgelords, where you just think, you care. Oh, this person actually is demanding forgiveness. We must not give them forgiveness. Fuck that person. They fucked up. Or when I try to explain something, you immediately go, oh, well, it seems to me like you love how many babies he murdered. How many babies he definitely murdered. He ran around murdering babies in Iraq. That was his position. He was there specifically for baby murder, and he murdered a lot of them, and he was drinking their blood in the process of murdering those children. And then now that his appetite has been satiated, he came back and he felt bad about murdering the babies. There's a huge difference between a random person becoming a better person and someone who wants to become a political representative. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. If we're going to talk about the actual political representation, thank you for bringing this up, you have to match it against who else is running in the race. Are we going to do that right now? Who you got in that fight? Janet Mills? How many babies has she killed? I guess she's better, right? You're morally consistent. You and Chuck Schumer are on the same on the same wavelength on that one. Yay, lesser evilism. There's a difference between advocating for vote blue no matter who versus looking at a situation in a fucking Republican district with a populist left candidate who literally, even if he won and was objectively dog shit, just on the virtue of the proof that left populism is a viable vehicle for change within the ranks of the only existing party in the two parties that at least has like a socialist flank to it, is good. Just on the virtue of saying this is proof in the pudding that it works. She supports Israel. Pretty sure she's pro-dead children. No, but she didn't actually tour. She didn't actually go to the Marine Corps. And I'm willing to bet she didn't have some stupid fucking takes in 2013 in a subreddit. So obviously she's more moral than this guy is. She is, okay? Clearly, you have to vote for Janet Mills. I'm saying, as the most moral person, as the real leftist in this fight, as someone who abhors electoralism, only to fucking chime in on electoralist conversations to tell everybody how fucking stupid they are because socialism is going to happen one day, one way or another, most likely magically, okay? I'm going to tell everybody that, you know, vote blue no matter who. That's what you're doing. And that instead of meticulously analyzing what a person is saying and then matching it up against their opposition, I'm just going to act like this dude is a fucking neoliberal Pete Buttigieg type. Unless it's Zohran Mamdani, brother, there are people who literally think Zohran Mamdani is also fake too. I'm going to be honest. I can't wait to go to prison. Straight up. I can't wait to go to prison or get fucking shot and killed by a psychopath because I can't deal with the left anymore. I can't. Like, we got an administration that is deploying the fucking military on numerous Democratic run cities. They're kidnapping people for looking Mexican with the most ferocious gang of mass thugs you've ever fucking seen with no training whatsoever. They're just rounding people up. They're tear gassing children. They're tear gassing people with regular frequency. Okay. And they're shameless about their posture towards fascism. It's no longer a posture of indifference, but welcoming fascism with open fucking arms. Okay. They're eroding all of the constitutional norms that remain, whether it be due process or free speech. The administration has basically said, if you're anti-capitalist, if you are anti-Christian, if you're anti-American, you know, family or whatever fucking idiotic assessment that they've made, then you are branded as a terrorist on the domestic level and you will be fucking prosecuted. I cannot wait. Please arrest me now because I would rather go to fucking prison than have to deal with dumb fuck lefties who look at all of this and go, I'm sorry, fuck this guy, actually. And there is no alternative to fuck this guy. I just wanted to say fuck this guy. I just wanted to say fuck this guy. There is no alternative to him. I will not be presenting an alternative to him. I actually don't have an alternative for change either. I just wanted to say fuck this guy, but leftistly. Okay? That's it. You have no pragmatism. You have no sincere approach to change. You don't even want to take a shot in the fucking dark on a dude who is infinitely closer to your worldview and your politics, at least in the way that he's presented it, than 99% of Congress. That's it. You are way more ruthless to what you think could be perceived as your allies than your enemies. Okay? That's it. You are, at your heart, exhibiting infantile disordered thinking. And you also simultaneously are reactionary. You're infantile and you're reactionary. And I know this is going to ruffle a lot of feathers. I know it's going to piss a lot of people off. I'm going to say it. I have to say it. Okay? That's it. This is our community. This is what we have. We have nothing. And it's crazy because I will never, ever in a fucking million years turn heel and turn into one of those like annoying fucking neoliberals who constantly goes, oh, I'm scolding the left because I'm actually explaining to you that better things are not possible and sometimes someone has to be an adult in a room. I will never fucking become one of those like disgusting fascist little gremlins for so many years. I've never stopped my advocacy and I will continue doing it. But goddamn, some of you fucking dumbasses really need to just rein it in, dude. Rein it the fuck in. The way we approach everything is so unimaginably gross. It's so gross. It's so close-minded. It's so ridiculous. It's so privileged in many ways where we're just like, listen, I didn't go through these experiences, so I'm obviously morally infallible as opposed to this fucking guy, you know? And before any number of you dipshits turn around and cynically try to tell me, what do you think a Iraqi feels about this? You already know my position on this, okay? You're not from there. You're from America. You live in fucking Connecticut, okay? In your father's McMansion. Shut the fuck up.
Time settling into a society that he felt betrayed by and left behind by after having to go fight in Iraq and Afghanistan. I'm sorry for this. Just know that it's not reflective at all of who I am.
This is not a critique, I agree with you, but could you juxtapose it with your stance on Kamala during the election cycle? I think that could help illustrate this current situation to a lot of chatters. Easy. Kamala Harris was the vice president of an administration that was conducting a genocide, and she refused to actually call it out or even demand that they stop it. Graham Platner, on the other hand, literally was a fucking crony who actually did participate in unjustifiable illegal incursion and an illegal occupation of Iraq, recognized that was fucked up, literally is anti-genocide right now. Very easy. Just on that issue alone, super easy fucking assessment to make. I cannot wait for the next cycle when everyone's on that fuck Israel tip, and now and left is going to be even more schizophrenic. They're going to be even more schizophrenic. They're going to be like, well, everyone is for anti-Israel now, so this guy obviously is a fucking psyop. Everyone that says fuck Israel is actually psyoping us. You are not worthy of a psyop. You are nothing. I am nothing. We are nothing. We are lower than dirt. Okay? We are the dog shit that every fucking Ivy League graduate steps on their way to their fucking $200,000 job as they dominate all of us at the behest of capital. You have no movement. You have nothing. And you will never be anything if you keep up this fucking attitude. I realize I'm being a little heavy-handed here. Not even because of Graham Platner. I couldn't give a shit about Graham Platner in the grand scheme of things. But because this is a fundamental anger that I have for a principle that I abide by that leftists constantly wear on their fucking sleeves as though they are doing something, as though they're doing purity politics. And then they simultaneously explain that, like, you know, purity politics are actually cancerous, but just for other stuff. Not for the stuff I care about, obviously. Not for the stuff I engage in purity politics over. God damn. My brother-in-law fought in Afghanistan and wanted to join the military, but the way America treated him showed that they don't care about the average person. I used to be a Trump supporter. Now I can't stand the American government from either side. The military contract their companies sell away our people. So what you're saying is Graham Platner will be accepted by middle management, CEO, and C-suite class? He probably is not even going to fucking win, dumbass. But even if he did, okay? Even if he did, the question is, we exist under capitalism. We understand, on the left at least some who are read enough or well-read enough, understand that this is a bourgeois democracy, a dictatorship of the bourgeoisie. And both of the parties under this current duopoly, obviously, first and foremost, serve the interests of capital. All of our institutions serve the interests of capital and capitalism, and our two-party system also reflects that reality. So unless you have some kind of viable alternative, see yourself out of the conversation of electoralism. Because at least within the confines of what is permissible, I think expanding the boundary of permission with candidates that have at least in the past said that they were socialist communists, or candidates that at least say Israel's doing a genocide at a time when seemingly 99% of fucking politicians still refuse to do so, I'm going to take a guy who does say those things. I'm going to be skeptical. I'm going to be scrutinizing their background. But if you're going to make a blanket statement about someone across the board and be like, well, every veteran's a baby murderer, then you are an unserious person. You should not have a conversation about this stuff. You just shouldn't. You shouldn't be a part of this conversation. I've never been a fucking troop exploder style leftist, and I never will be, okay? This is not because the military industrial complex is good or permissible. This is not because the military actually does any good whatsoever. It doesn't. I see it as a fucking jobs program, okay? That's what it is. But because it's a jobs program, that means there's a level of normalization of what the military does. So you have to work within those confines when you're fucking messaging, and you can't be one of those dumb fuck baby leftists that LARPs as though you're a revolutionary and you're going to be the real warrior of class. Meanwhile, everyone in the military has already done irreparable harm and therefore are irredeemable. You are delusional. You are so fucking outside of the confines of what is normal politics in the United States of America that no one will ever take you seriously. No one will ever listen to what you have to say. People will just go, okay. And they will never treat you with the same fucking level of respect ever again. I'm warning you right now. It saddens me how your ego, your inability to take accountability is actively hurting the left's image. Don't be pirate software. What? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm literally covering a dude who's taking accountability right now about things that they have said in the past. What? Please explain to me what you're talking about. I'm talking about you. Okay, what do I have to take accountability for? What have I done? Explain to me what I have to take accountability for. Do you think the left needs to take a step back from trans issues in order to regain momentum? Wait, please tell me you're not actually in here talking about drama. Oh my God, please tell me that wasn't like, hey man, enough about like American politics and the left's inability to organize. Can we talk about drama again, please? Is that what that was? That's the D community talking point about Kaya. We don't see it. Yeah, it was. This person is basically saying like, look, it doesn't even matter if you were right. It's just that you didn't approach it with the seriousness, and it made it so hard to defend you amidst the conversation about Grant Platner's run against Susan Collins. No, it was Kaya Gate. Now you understand why I say I welcome death. I welcome being arrested by this administration if it happens. We are never getting health care. It's not happening. It's just not happening. We're not. We're in a fucking death spiral in this stupid fucking country, and people seemingly enjoy it. People like these conditions. They're like, hey, there's new shit that I can get mad at every day.
I don't want you to judge me on the dumbest thing I ever wrote on the internet. I would prefer if people could judge me on the person I am today. And I just want to say thank you all very much for your time.
Incredible stuff.